of my eyes for bright reflection. And the river's rolling on into the distance, then it's gone. Seems to disappear somewhere around the bend, but that river never ends. In our daughter's eyes, see the azure skies. She'll take our love into the future. Our love is rolling on into the distance, never gone. May seem to disappear, comes around again. Our story never ends. Like the river never ends. Time's arrow is a silver thread. It only points in one direction. Our love is rolling on into the distance, never gone. Our love is rolling on into the distance, never gone. It just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Our love goes on and on and on and on and on. Our love goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Our love goes on and on and on and on and on. Our love goes on. I can't give my love no silver and no gold. She don't hold her riches in her hand. She told me her love is the finest marigold, and it can't be bought by any man. In the long and easy silence, in the sigh of eventide, I know our love is true. The bell's quiet toll, or the whisper of the soul, the stillness of our love coming through. Summertime, my love and I went up the mountainside, the world a-humming soft and simple tunes, shining like the sun, full of love she cannot hide, a bride on her wedding afternoon. In the long and easy silence, in the sigh of eventide, I know our love is true. The bell's quiet toll, or the whisper of the soul, the stillness of our love coming through. lots of distant daughters and sons. Winter soon will come to the solemn riverside, with waters all running into one. In the long and easy silence, in the sigh of eventide, I know our love is true. The bell's quiet toll, or the whisper of the soul, the stillness of our love coming through. The bell's quiet toll, or the whisper of the soul, the stillness of our love coming through.
A covenant is a promise made to ourselves and others about how we want to treat each other.
A covenant is a promise made to ourselves and others about how we want to treat each other.
These promises are ideals, and this document is a record of our highest aspirations.
These promises are ideals, and this document is a record of our highest aspirations.
If we find ourselves breaking these promises, this covenant will serve as a reference and a reminder of our agreements.
If we find ourselves breaking these promises, this covenant will serve as a reference and a reminder of our agreements.
This is a living document, and it will be reviewed and updated as we grow into our SUUSI mission.
This is a living document and will be reviewed and updated as we grow into our SUUSI mission.
The mission of SUUSI is to provide a one-week experience evoking the best within us, in concert with Unitarian Universalist principles.
The mission of SUUSI is to provide a one-week experience evoking the best within us, in concert with Unitarian Universalist principles.
SUUSI offers the opportunity to share an intergenerational environment of love, personal freedom, ethics, and joy in an intentional, non-judgmental community.
SUUSI offers the opportunity to share intergenerational environments of love, personal freedom, ethics, and joy in an intentional, non-judgmental community.
Safety. We are all responsible for creating an emotionally, physically, and spiritually safe space for all participants.
Safety. We're all responsible for creating an emotionally, physically, and spiritually safe space for all participants.
Trust. We offer our authentic selves, allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and holding the vulnerability of others with the greatest care.
Trust. We offer our authentic selves, allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and holding the vulnerability of others with the greatest care.
Validation. We see, hear, and value each other for who we are with all the expressions of our identities.
Validation. We see, hear, and value each other for who we are with all the expressions of our identities.
Affirmation. We show appreciation for the gifts each person brings to this community.
Affirmation. We show appreciation for the gifts each person brings to the community.
Accountability. We strive to act as if everything we do matters for the well-being of our SUUSI community.
Accountability. We strive to act as if everything we do matters for the well-being of our SUUSI community.
Reconciliation. We agree to enter into truth and reconciliation processes when conflicts or disagreements arise.
Reconciliation. We agree to enter into truth and reconciliation processes when conflicts or disagreements arise.
These promises are ideals, and this document is a record of our highest aspirations.
These promises are ideals, and this document is a record of our highest aspirations.
And this document is a record of our highest aspirations.
And this document is a record of our highest aspirations.
And this document is a record of our highest aspirations.
If we find ourselves breaking these promises,
this covenant.
We find ourselves breaking these promises.
If we find ourselves breaking these promises, this covenant will serve as a reference and a reminder of our agreements.
If we find ourselves breaking these promises, this covenant will serve as a reference and a reminder of our agreements.
Good morning, SUUSI. Welcome to our Friday morning service. I want to share briefly what was in the closing news and also was shared at worship last night for those of you who may not have yet heard or read this. Information from our SUUSI leadership. As we approach the close of our second virtual SUUSI, our hearts are full of dreams and plans for next year. We look forward to gathering in person, hugging, singing, sharing meals, meeting spontaneously, looking each other in the eyes. At this time, we don't know what backdrop to place behind those mental images. We have not yet signed a contract with a host university. Our hope is to return to the beautiful campus of Western Carolina University. However, WCU hasn't yet figured out what their policies will be for hosting groups after the pandemic. It's possible that they will make decisions that won't work for us, such as attendance caps. We don't know for certain. The board and core staff are exploring all of our options. Reverend Amy Carroll Webb reminds us, SUUSI is not a place, but a people. We know this, and yet we also recognize that opening a site search is hard during this time in which we long for the familiar. Whether we return to WCU or find a new home, we'll hold on to the parts of SUUSI that nurture us wherever we are. And welcome to our earth-centered, earth-relating service that is a long tradition here at SUUSI, and one where I have imagined Bob Patrick leading this service for about 9 years, which is about a little less time than I've known him, but I've imagined him leading this service. And I'm so glad he's doing that. And he will introduce more about himself. I'm just so pleased that he's bringing his gift of Druidry to our SUUSI community. And a fun fact about Bob is that he was this close, had the letter from the Pope, to being a Catholic priest. Disaster averted. And I'm so glad that we have him. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Reverend Jan, for that introduction. I am Bob Patrick. I am a member of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Gwinnett, where Reverend Jan is our minister. This is in Metro Atlanta. I have been a longtime leader, about 15 years, of a Druid, a modern Druid group in our congregation that we call Sylvan Sanctuary. And I'm happy this morning to be with you via Zoom to share our Groves ritual with you. As you can see, I have set up our Groves altar here in my home space. And I want to take a few minutes to share with you the symbols and the images, the tools that are on the altar and something of what they mean to us. We use this setup for our 8 gatherings of the year around a Celtic inspired year. And let me say that across these 15 years, our Grove has been working to build this path together. And so it's constantly evolving. And one of the reasons that it's constantly evolving, it's really sort of two reasons. One is that we research, good research, historical, literary, archaeological, is important to us. And so as new research comes forward, we read it, we study it, we talk about it, and we ask ourselves, how does that inform our practice of a modern Druid path? The other piece is that it needs to be our path. It needs to be not just historical and literary, but it needs to fit how we, a group of people, mostly in North Georgia, but we have members around the country and even one in Wales. How does this, how we practice, fit our own life experience as well? So we're constantly looking at those things. So I want to take a few minutes to just point out to you how the altar is set up. And let me start, first of all, with the color of the cloth. I don't know how seeing a black cloth strikes you, but it sort of makes a first point for me that I like to share with people. A good ritual, however we might measure that, has at least two components. One is that it allows us to experience something that expresses our own personal experience. So experiencing and expressing our own experience is important. But the other piece, and oftentimes it feels almost like an opposition, is that a good ritual also pushes back a little bit. It challenges us and it informs us. Well, so that's why the black cloth. As of June the 20th this year, we've entered into the dark half of the year. And so I don't know if you can see this or not, but underneath this dark cloth is a light cloth. And before June 20th, it was on the top of the altar. But from now until winter solstice, we are in the dark half of the year. And in our expression of Druidry, the dark half of the year is not necessarily a downer. It's an invitation to enter into a more reflective status. And so the black cloth reminds us that we are now easing into the dark half of the year. So let me go back to the center. At the very center of the altar, you can see that we have a cauldron. This represents the Celtic goddess Danu, who is the mother of all the gods and goddesses. And in some stories, she is the one out of whom all things have come. And on the cauldron is a representation of the world tree, which in ancient Irish was called a bile. Bile might be any tree that the community gathered around or under, but it also was a representation, he was a representation of the world tree that represents the three realms of sky and earth and sea, and by which Druid walkers between worlds would travel from one realm to the other to do their magic and to do their working in the world. Around the cauldron of Danu and Bile, the world tree, are representations of the four elements: air, with some incense burning here, and fire and water, and earth with some salt in it. It could be salt or stones. I've got salt here. Just around the four elements are three little fireplaces, which we're going to be lighting in the ritual, where we honor the spirits of the land and our ancestors and the divine. And so we'll be engaging with that shortly as well. Around the outside of those are, I don't know if you can see them or not, they're little wood discs with Ogham symbols carved on them, and they represent 5 trees that our grove has chosen to work with. In ancient Irish literature, there are 9 trees that often show up in story after story after story. Well, we noticed that 5 of those 9 trees actually grow here in North Georgia. And so we wanted them on our altar to be energies that we work with as well. So in the east is the apple tree, and in the south is the hawthorn tree. In the west is the ash tree. In the north is the holly tree. And at the center is the oak. Almost done. Outside of that, you see 4 more cauldrons with candles in them. These represent the 4 talisman, 4 special symbols that appear in one of the stories where the gods and goddesses brought from 4 magical cities these symbols that represented various things. The sword of Lu, which is a symbol of healing and new life. The spear of Lu, the sword of Nwadu, I'm sorry. The spear of Lu, which is a representation of all giftedness and the source of cosmic music. The cauldron of the Dagda, which is a source of nourishment, and the stone of destiny, which establishes sovereignty with the land. The last thing that you see are stones around the outside of the altar. There are 8 of them. They stand for the 8 times a year that we gather as a Druid community to celebrate the sun stations and the seasons of the year. And we'll be using those to call for peace in just a few minutes. There are three tools that we use in this ritual: a bundle of feathers to call on sky energy, a shell to call on sea energy, and a wand to call on earth energy. So let's begin our ritual. I will state this again in a few minutes, but in thinking about what our intention might be for this ritual today, I brought the theme of SUUSI and something that is a constant and personal piece of my own path, and that is concern for the earth, our mother. The earth, our mother, is burdened and struggling and suffering in large part because of human beings and what we are doing or not doing with regards to the earth, our mother. And human beings as a group are suffering and struggling. The old adage that hurt people seems to fit here. Hurt people can hurt the earth as well. And so a piece of our intention this morning is to do our working for the healing and the help of Mother Earth and all of her children, to be united in love. And you'll hear that reiterated in just a few minutes. So I'm going to begin by inviting you to help me create sacred space. I'm going to pick up each of the 4 elements in our grove when we're gathered together, which we haven't been gathered together now for more than a year. It's all been via Zoom. We take the elemental bowls around and we invite everyone to use their hands and to pull the elements into their space to make their space a part of the sacred space as well. And so I'm going to bring each of the elemental bowls to the screen and invite you to pull the elements into your space. And we're going to create a grove that is far larger than this space in my basement. We're going to create a grove that includes everyone who's gathered here this morning, wherever you are on the earth. So let's begin. Let this grove be sanctified by air.
Spirit, earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit.
This grove and all within it be sanctified by earth. It is our intention that the energy of this working support Mother Earth and all of her children, including us gathered in all the places that we are, for healing and help that we may need to be united in love. And so let us call upon peace from the quarters. Let there be peace in the north at the holly tree that grows at the Alban Arthurian gate. Let there be peace in the east at the apple tree that grows at the Alban Isler gate. Let there be peace in the south at the hawthorn tree that grows at the Alban Heroin gate. And let there be peace in the west at the ash tree that grows in the Alban Eloid gate. And so our grove is established in peace. I invite you now to hear our grove's covenant, which we wrote over 10 years ago, and which we reaffirm at every practice of this ritual. We are a community of Druids walking personal paths. We have a vital relationship with the earth, our mother. We celebrate the sun and its sacred days. We hear the call to the inner life, and we are weaving a wisdom that is both personal and communal. We each have special work that we do for ourselves, for others, and for our community. We find our balance in the three: the sky, the earth, and the sea. We come to honor the three realms, the three cauldrons within us, and the ancestors, guides, and spirits that attend us, and to make our offering to Mother Earth. You may have seen that you were invited to bring a candle and some sort of an offering for the Earth, our Mother, this morning. And so if you did, I invite you to go ahead and light that candle and get ready to make your offering. If you didn't, that's okay. You can simply, by your intention, watch and participate in the offering that I bring and place on the altar in just a moment as well. With the sacred land always supporting us, the eternal sea surrounding us, the endless sky above us, the world tree Bile aids us to connect the realms. The cauldron of Danu is our source, from where our energy and our work grow through our bodies, bringing wisdom, sight, and health. And so we light the first fire. We acknowledge the three fires that give light, warmth, and life to all. First, to the spirits of this land and this place. Be with us and guide us. Be our hospitable hosts as we are your gracious guests. Receive this offering that we make to the earth, our mother, with all our gratitude for her support for our lives. We light the second fire. We acknowledge the second fire, the fire of our ancestors, of blood and of culture, that we carry in our hearts and thoughts. Be with us and inspire us. Be our excellent exemplars as we are your devoted servants. We light the third fire. We acknowledge the third fire, the great fire of the gods and goddesses, the powers and inhabitants of the sacred realms. Be with us and enlighten us. Be our perpetual patrons as we are your constant clients. To the three fires, may we kindle you at all times, and may you never be extinguished.
go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. And where you lie, I will lie, beloved. Where you lie, I will lie. Where you lie, I will lie, beloved. Where you lie, I will lie. And your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, ancestors. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, ancestors. Where you go, I will go. And where you lie, I will lie, ancestors. Where you lie, I will lie. Where you lie, I will lie, ancestors. Where you lie, I will lie. And your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, Mother Earth. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, Mother Earth. Where you go, I will go. And where you lie, I will lie, Mother Earth. Where you lie, I will lie. Where you lie, I will lie, Mother Earth. Where you lie, I will lie. And your creatures are my creatures. Your creatures are mine. Your creatures are my creatures. You're divine, my divine.
Oh, what a beautiful way to connect with all of the energies that we live in every day. I want to invite you now to participate in a guided meditation that our Grove does whenever we gather, called a Three Realms Protection. You can do this standing as I am, or sitting, or even lying down. So find the posture that's comfortable for you. But if you're standing or sitting, just make sure your feet are flat on the floor. I invite you to gently close your eyes and bring your attention to your breathing. No control over your breath, just notice it. Breathing in, breathing out. And so now raise your dominant hand into the sky. And using your imagination, imagine that your hand stretches all the way into the cosmos, into the place of stars and planets, and wiggle your fingers around in sky energy. And on your next inhale, draw sky energy down through the top of your head, make a little circle of it on your forehead, draw it down and make a little circle of it in your heart, draw it down and make a little circle of it below your belly button. And breathe down into your body sky energy. Now, with your same hand, reach down into the core of the earth. Use your imagination and see your hand go all the way to the center of the earth, where things are liquid and molten and magnetic. This is the source of sea energy. And with your next inhale, draw sea energy up through your feet and your legs and make a little circle of it below your belly button. Draw it up and make a little circle of it at your heart. And draw it up and make a circle of it at your forehead. And breathe up sea energy into your body. And now stretch your hands out to the horizons. If you have a window, look out the window and see more of Mother Earth there. Trees, perhaps, and birds, maybe butterflies or other people. And wiggle your fingers around in this earth energy that we have contact with every day. And on your next inhale, draw earth energy into your body. Make a circle of it at your heart. Make a circle of it below your belly button. Make a circle of it at your forehead. And holding your hands together at your chest, breathe in sky energy and sea energy and earth energy, and let them commingle and find each other at your center. And having made contact with the three realms outside of us, now inside of us, we acknowledge the three places that ancient Irish tradition says they became our three cauldrons. So I invite you to place your hands over that space just below your belly button. This is called the cauldron of warming. Notice your life energy today, right now, whatever it is, and let us call to sea energy to strengthen and restore and help us in whatever way we need. Now move your hands to your heart. Scan across your relationships with other people, with plants and animals of the earth, with all the beings that you make contact with in so many ways. Wherever there is a breach or a need of healing or help, let us call upon Mother Earth energy to give us the help that we need to be reunited in love. And then place your hands at your forehead and ponder, what wisdom or insight am I seeking today? And let us call upon sky energy to open us to the wisdom of the sacred realms. Take one more intentional breath. Open your eyes. Be present in this space. As there are three realms in which we do this work, there are also four directions and the center. There are four elements and there are four talismans. Through five sacred trees, we call on all of these for their help in our working now. And so we move to the east. Through the power of your mind's eye, see the apple tree standing before you. Leaning against the apple tree is the sword of Nuadu, a powerful source of healing and help. Allow yourself to feel the energy of the apple tree surrounding you and filling you, the energy of challenges, initiations, passages between worlds, and safety in times of trouble. Allow yourself to feel the energy of Nuadu's sword radiate into your body, the energy of new things arising and of healing whatever is wounded. We stand before the apple tree in the east, where we prepare, plan, and initiate our work. We call upon the powers of the east to help us in this working, to the apple tree to help us face these challenges and make our passages, to the power of air to help us plan and begin this journey, to the sword of Nuadu to help us with every new thing we need for this journey. We offer them our thanks. And we move to the south. Through the power of your mind's eye, see the hawthorn tree standing before you. Planted in the ground under the tree is the spear of Lu, with the point aimed up towards the tree. It's a symbol of all human skills and gifts needed for the journey. Allow yourself to feel the energy of the hawthorn tree surrounding you and filling you, the energy of fierceness, challenges, and secret encounters. Allow yourself to feel the energy of the spear of Lu radiate into your whole body, the energy of cosmic music, the energy of the gifts that you need for this journey, those known to you and those secret ones yet to be claimed by you. We stand before the hawthorn tree in the south, where our work is forged in difficulty. We call upon the powers of the South to help us in this working, to the hawthorn tree, to give us fierceness, to uncover the secrets, to the power of fire, to forge in us the passion and creativity we need, to the spear of Lu, to sound within us the cosmic music, and to bring to life all of our gifts. And we thank them for their help. And we move around to the West. Through the power of your mind's eye, see the ash tree standing before you. At the base of this straight, strong tree is the cauldron of the Dagda. The resources, a symbol of the resources of the universe. Allow yourself to feel the energy of the ash tree surrounding you and filling you with fostering and keeping peace, the energy of weaving and prophecy, a strong sense of your destiny. Allow yourself to feel the energy of the cauldron of the Dagda radiate into your body, the abundance of all that you need, the source of wisdom and knowledge, the powers of life and death. We stand before the ash tree in the West, where we find the spirit and healing needed for our work. We call upon the powers of the West to help us in this working, to the ash tree to give us abiding peace, the ability to weave the prophecy, wisdom, and powers of the sacred realms into our path, to the power of water to draw healing and all that we need as we journey through our challenges, to the cauldron of the Dagda to feast on abundance, wisdom, and knowledge for this journey. And to them we offer our thanks. And we move around to the north. Through the power of your mind's eye, see the holly tree standing before you. At the base of this shining, powerful tree is the stone of destiny, a powerful spiritual support for our shared life together. Allow yourself to feel the energy of the holly tree surrounding you and filling you with a sense of progress and movement, of energy to complete the journey. Allow yourself to feel the energy of the stone of destiny radiate into your whole body, the deep darkness that is the womb of the universe from which all things come. We stand before the holly tree in the north, where we find the strength and resources needed for our work. We call upon the powers of the north to help us in this working, to the holly tree to give us courage and energy to move forward and act with confidence in the world, to the power of the earth to grant us our sovereignty for our work in the world, to the stone of destiny to give us quiet rest when our day's work is done and trust the journey that we have traveled. And we offer them our thanks. Through the power of your mind's eye, see the world tree, Mbile, the oak tree standing before you. The world tree rises up out of the cauldron of Danu, our mother. Allow yourself to feel the energy of the oak tree surrounding you and filling you with a sense of awe for this sacred place and sacred skills, both within you and around you in this sacred grove. Allow yourself to feel the energy of the mother's cauldron, life and death, creation and destruction, fertility and abundance, magic and shape-shifting, wisdom and prophecy, and the sovereignty of the land to radiate into your whole body. We stand with the oak tree and the cauldron at the center, where our life source is the movement of sea. Our life is nourished by the earth, and our spirit reaches to the sky, connecting the three realms in us all. We call upon the powers of the center to help us in this working, to the oak tree to connect us with the divine powers of the sacred realms, to the power of the center, the place of sacred mist, empowering us as walkers between worlds, to the cauldron of Danu to grant life in the midst of death, creativity in the midst of destruction, fertility and abundance, the magic, wisdom, and sovereignty and prophetic powers that we need as walkers between worlds. To them, we offer our thanks. And now we call upon the energies of the three realms to join together all that we've invoked here and send this working into the world for the earth, our mother, for all of her children, to heal all that is broken and wounded and wrong, to unite us in love. We call upon sky energy to help us with our working. We call upon sea energy to help us with our working. We call upon the earth to help us with our working. And now I invite you to extend your hands towards this altar and with me to weave these energies together as we send them out into the world. There's an ancient Irish word that we use, imbas. It means something like grace and something like magic and something like inspiration. And we use that word as a chant 3 times to send this energy into the world. I invite you to chant it with me and to raise these energies up. Imbas, imbas, imbas. So I invite you now to feel into the energies of sky and sea and earth as they weave together on our altar. And take time to feel into what has just happened inside of you. Check in with your body, your mental and emotional impressions, and any messages that you may feel coming through to you in any number of ways. If you have a journal or a piece of paper on hand, you might want to make a few notes about what you've just experienced, what you've heard, what you've seen, what you've felt, what you've otherwise perceived. What is given to us in altered space often is difficult to find once we return to the mundane world of things. So even a few notes right now can help you return to what you've experienced here. And while we take time to do that, we will enjoy this music video.
Weave and spin, weave and spin. This is how the work begins. Mend and heal, mend and heal. Take the dream and make it real. Weave and spin, weave and spin. This is how the work begins. Mend and heal, mend and heal. Take the dream and make it real.
Over the course of this day and perhaps even the coming days, I invite us to remain aware and open to the energies that we have called upon here: air, fire, water, earth, the energy of the apple tree, the hawthorn, the ash, the holly, and the oak, the energies of the sword of Nuadu, the spear of Lu, the cauldron of the Dagda, and the stone of destiny, the cauldron of Danu, our mother, and the energy of the world tree, Bile, the energies of sky and sea and earth around us and within us. And be aware of how they invite us into a deeper union of love in and with and on behalf of the earth, our mother. I want to express my deep gratitude for being invited to share our Groves ritual with you all today. And I wish you all the best as this year's SUUSI comes to an end. The working of this Grove ritual is done. Let any energy remaining of this working return to the earth, our mother, for her blessing and for all goodness. And so it is. Our final words are those of music that perhaps are familiar to you. The circle is open.
The circle is open but unbroken. May the peace of the Spirit go ever in our hearts. Merry meet and merry part, and merry meet again. The circle is open but unbroken. May the peace of the Spirit go ever in our hearts. Merry meet and merry part, and merry meet again. The circle is open but unbroken. May the peace of the Spirit go ever in our hearts. Merry meet and merry part, and merry meet again.
Be well, beloveds. Have a beautiful day.